Hello everyone, welcome to my August 2017 haul video. For those of you who saw my haul video from last month, it knows that there were a lot of Criterion Blu-ray titles, and many of you are probably not aware, but the Criterion sale at Barnes & Noble extended all the way to August 14th, so a lot of the things I showed in that video were things I had purchased in August. But fortunately, I picked up a lot of non-Criterion things, so I have a video to make for the rest of August. So without further ado, I want to dive into a couple of comic book and book-related things that I picked up. First off is actually not something that I bought myself, but actually something that I had won in a contest on Twitter, thanks to the good folks over at Hyper RPG, especially Miss Danny Fernandez. I was able to win 3 individual comics from a publisher that I am actually not very familiar with, and that is Valiant Comics. For those of you who saw my special 100th video of my entire comic book collection know that I do have a few comic books from the indie publishers like Dark Horse and IDW and Image, but Valiant is a company I have actually never delved into. I've been aware that they've been around for quite a while, but I have never gotten into any of their titles. So these are fortunately all number ones. The first here being Harbinger Renegade. And if I end up reading these and liking them, I will of course pick up the trades and read the rest of the stories. The second here is Bloodshot Reborn number 1. This I've actually heard about because I believe they're turning this into a movie soon, or at least they're working on it. And the third here is Faith Special Edition, also number 1. And also, as a nice little throw-in, they provided a button. It's nice to see buttons now and again. You never really see these anymore. Next up is a trade paperback that I picked up myself, and that is Ed Brubaker's Criminal, Volume 1. I picked this up because it is something that I've heard about, and I heard that it is incredible, and that it would be something that I very much would be into, because I'm a big fan of detective stories and film noir and stuff like that, and that is kind of what this series is based on. So I'm definitely going to be picking up the other trade paperbacks. I know that they will be reissuing these in hardcover very, very soon, so I've decided to stick with the trade paperbacks, though, just because I already have Volume 1, I might as well continue with those. The next 2 things are 2 books that I picked up during the month of August. The first up here is a book by someone whom I've been a big fan of for years. She is an inspiration as well as a fellow cinephile, and I am just so happy that she was able to publish her book, get her thoughts out there, and I'm always happy to see fellow cinephiles and fellow artists have success in their careers, and that is Backwards and in Heels, written by my friend Alicia Malone. As you can see by the bookmark here, I am still in the process of reading it. Once I'm done, I will do a review on it. And this book briefly touches on the history of women in American cinema. And it's a very important subject that is really being talked about a lot now more than ever. Next up is a book of plays by Sam Shepard. Unfortunately, recently, the great actor and playwright Sam Shepard passed away, and I realized that I had not read any of his plays ever, but I have always been a fan of him as an actor, and I didn't realize that he had actually won a Pulitzer Prize back in the 70s for one of his plays in this book. So definitely check him out, not only as an actor, but as a playwright, and if you can, get this book here. It is very affordable, and it contains 7 of his most well-known plays. Next up are the various Blu-rays and DVDs that I picked up. I will first start off with a couple of TV series seasons that I got. First up is a series that I've been collecting kind of on and off now for years, kind of when I can find them at a cheap price, because I believe that most of the season sets for this particular show are out of print. And that is Season 2 of Spin City. This was a sitcom in the 90s, starring Michael J. Fox. And these sets here were put out by Shout Factory a number of years ago, and I know that they ended up putting out the whole series. I believe the series went on for 6 seasons. Unfortunately, the Michael J. Fox portion of the show is the one that is the rarest, the most coveted, and goes for the highest of prices. So once in a while I will poke around on eBay and fortunately be able to pick up a season. No surprise here, the Charlie Sheen seasons are readily available and are extremely cheap. Next up is a Blu-ray steelbook set of a current show that is airing, and that is Season 2 of Ash vs. Evil Dead, the Best Buy exclusive steelbook edition. I actually wasn't going to pick this up until way later when it was cheaper, but fortunately one of my local Best Buys still had these in stock. Usually steelbooks at all of my local Best Buys sell out pretty much the first day they come out, and they only get a limited supply, so I was really fortunate to pick this up. I've watched it, and the show is great. If you are a fan of the Evil Dead movies and you really want to see a great continuation with the character of Ash Williams portrayed by Bruce Campbell, you will definitely want to check this series out. There are horrific elements in it, there are funny elements in it, there are gross elements in it, a great practical effects use. I highly recommend this show. And next we get to the feature films. First up is a DVD of a movie that is not available on Blu-ray at all here in the US, and that is Mike Nichols' Carnal Knowledge starring Jack Nicholson. This is a film I had been wanting to see for years, particularly since Mike Nichols recently passed away, and I've always been a fan of his work. Definitely check out his films, The Graduate as well as Closer. He was just a fantastic director. Also, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is an all-time favorite of mine as well. So I'm looking forward to finally being able to check this out. And here I have two 2-packs of Godzilla films. This is the Toho collection of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 and Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. These sets came out a few years ago. I think they came out to coincide with the new Godzilla film by Gareth Edwards, and I have been trying to pick these up ever since, and now they're finally down to extremely affordable pricing, which I'm so glad, because essentially you're buying two films for really low prices, and I can't refuse a bargain. So this is this set here, and the next one is Godzilla vs. Destroyer and Godzilla vs. Mechagyros. These sets here are put out by Sony, so the transfers probably are as good as they are going to be, ever. Unless, of course, they decide to remaster these in 4K, which I'm not quite sure if they're going to do. Also, fortunately, you get these in the original Japanese audio, which is kind of how I prefer to watch them. Next up here is an animated film that I actually found in a Walmart bargain bin, and that is Cowboy Bebop, the movie. I am currently watching the Cowboy Bebop television show, and I wanted to pick this up, and I was just randomly at Walmart looking in their bargain bin, and this was theirs, and I could not pass it up. I don't believe this connects with the television series in any way, but I definitely want to finish watching that before I watch this. And for those of you wondering, the show is actually really incredible. I highly recommend that if you want to get into anime. So, that has been my entire August 2017 haul. If there's anything you want to see in more depth, or you want a more deeper discussion about, please let me know. Also, if you like this video, please check out the other videos on my channel.